Hey everyone. There's a quiet revolution happening in our schools. And now it's not about some new teaching method. It's about technology completely overhauling one of the oldest classroom routines there is, taking attendance. So today, we're going to break down how these smart systems are finally making the old paper and pen roll call a thing of the past. So let me just start with a question for you, especially if you're an educator or a parent. Does taking attendance at your school still feel, well, kind of like a throwback? A process that just hasn't changed in decades? It's a super common pain point, and it has a bigger impact than you might think. And when you really boil it down, those old school systems, they come with three main frustrations, right? There's all that tedious manual effort, the inevitable human errors that creep in, and maybe the most important one, all that precious classroom and admin time that just vanishes into paperwork. Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll dig into what we're calling the paperwork problem. Then we'll introduce the solution, the digital roll call. After that, we'll look at how this tech's impact goes way beyond just attendance. We'll also cover an administrator's toolkit of key features, and then wrap things up with some tips on how to choose the right system.
All right, first up, the paperwork problem. This is all about the core challenges that modern absence management software was built to solve.
I mean, we can all picture the old way, can't we? Piles of binders, filing cabinets stuffed to the brim, and teachers losing the first few precious minutes of every single class to a manual roll call. It's not just slow, it's practically begging for simple mistakes. And by the time an administrator actually gets that data, it's already old news, which makes it really hard to step in and help a student when it actually counts. So, what's the alternative? Well, that brings us right to our next section. Let's talk about the solution, the digital roll call. At its heart, it's actually pretty simple. Absence management software is just a tool designed to automate that entire process of recording and tracking who's in class and who isn't. It's the direct replacement for all those paper-based methods we were just talking about. So how does it really work on a day-to-day basis? Well, it starts by collecting super accurate data, not just flagging who's absent, but also who's showing up late. From there, it can automatically spin up reports for administrators or counselors so they can spot patterns. And the real magic is that all this information lives in one easy-to-access digital database. Now, these systems can look pretty different depending on the school. On the simpler side of things, you might have a teacher using a school app on a tablet, or maybe students scan a QR code when they walk in. But then you've got the more complex systems, right? Things like RFID cards that automatically log a student's presence, or even facial recognition technology, which of course comes with its own whole set of things to consider. But here's the thing. This technology does so much more than just count heads. Its real power is in the ripple effect it has across the entire school. So let's look at the impact that goes way beyond just attendance. This slide right here really paints the picture of the transformation. You're going from paper notebooks to live electronic systems. All those time-sucking tasks, they get automated, freeing people up to, actually focus on students. And think about this. Instead of a parent finding out their kid missed class days later, they can get an instant notification. It's a huge shift from being reactive to being proactive. So where's the biggest win here? Well, the data shows a huge chunk, about 65%, comes from just making admin work easier and saving teachers time and effort. But what's really powerful is that the rest of the benefits directly impact the students themselves by helping reduce absenteeism and creating way more transparency with families. And there's this quote from the source material that just hits the nail on the head. It's not about being Big Brother. It's about creating a culture of accountability. When students know that their attendance is being tracked accurately and consistently, it naturally encourages them to make being in class a priority. Okay, so if a school is thinking about getting one of these systems, what should they actually be looking for? Let's break down the must-have tools in an administrator's toolkit. The number one rule, it absolutely has to be easy to use. I mean, if a system is more stressful than the problem it's supposed to solve, it's a total failure. A simple, intuitive interface is non-negotiable because it means teachers can start saving time from day one without a huge learning curve. Next up is automated reporting. This is where all that data becomes genuinely powerful. Imagine being able to see, with just a few clicks, that a specific student has been late to first period every single Monday for a month. That right there is an actionable insight, and that's what this feature delivers. This is a big one. This software can't live on an island by itself. It has to integrate smoothly with the school's other big systems, like the learning management system, where all the assignments are, and the student information system, where all the enrollment data lives. When all those systems are talking to each other, you get one single source of truth for all student information. And finally, all of this works together to strengthen that crucial partnership between school and home. Features like direct notifications close the communication gap, making sure that when it comes to a child's attendance and their safety, everybody is on the same page in real time. Okay, with all those features in mind, how does a school actually make the right call? Let's jump into our final section, choosing your system. Our source material lays out a really clear 4-step guide for this. First, as we said, prioritize ease of use. Then, and this one's huge, involve the people who will actually be using it every day, the teachers and staff. Next, make sure there's reliable 24/7 tech support for when things inevitably go wrong. And last but not least, you need robust security systems to protect that sensitive student data. And just so we're being fully transparent here, these insights and the framework for our explainer today are drawn from a great article on the Skolera blog. They really lay out a clear case for how schools can make this decision in a smart, structured way. So let's tie this all together. Here's the big picture. Smart attendance software isn't just about making things run faster. By getting rid of all that manual work, it gives teachers their time back so they can actually teach. It bridges the communication gap with parents, helps build student accountability, and it gives administrators the real-time data they need to support their students when they need it most. So, we'll leave you with this one thought. We all agree that every minute of instructional time is precious, right?